Let's go. Game time.
Welcome, everybody, to the Better Baby Daddy podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, John Lakshmanan.
I'm your other co-host, Kelly Burgess.
And today we're going to talk about how you can prepare the mind and the body to be the best baby daddy you can possibly be.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about diet.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about exercise.
And we're going to talk about balancing all those things.
Yeah. And by no means are we experts.
No.
But we're going to reference some experts.
No doubt.
Today.
Yeah. So let's hop right into it. What's the foundation?
All right. So people tend to think when they think about health and wellness in regards to their exercise and their nutrition as that foundational piece. Yep. We're going to rewrite that today a little bit with the help of one of our, how do I say it? Not our friend.
An expert.
A resident expert who
through the internet.
The interwebs. And his name is Matt Walker. You can catch Matt Walker all over the place on the internet. I think he's referenced as the sleep doctor. Yeah, the sleep doctor.
First.
Peter Attia.
Yes.
Dr. Peter Attia.
Yeah.
Saw him on a podcast there. Or listen to him on a podcast, I should say. So, rewriting what health and wellness looks like. Like I said, a lot of individuals, including myself, thought of health and wellness as foundationally speaking, nutrition and exercise. But what we're going to do is we're going to take nutrition and exercise and make those the pillars that sit on a foundation of sleep. Sleep. The importance of sleep, man, cannot be understated.
Cannot. And we were talking like when you're a young man,
Yes.
you can move and shake how you want to because you got that human growth hormone coursing through your veins.
Yeah.
And it is allowing you to recuperate after all-night bender, being in the club, chasing whatever you chase.
Yeah.
And as you creep into your late 20s and 30s, and definitely your mid-30s, you realize, that thing I used to be able to snap back from in a day, it's 3 days now. I'm still a little foggy. In 40s, it's a week if you overdo it. And so it's the foundation that allows you to recuperate and handle the stresses that you're going to face whatever the next day is. So what are some of the things that Matt Walker talked?
Well, one of the things he emphasizes is getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Not 6.5, not 5.5, not 6 hours and 45 minutes, but 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And that's not 7 to 9 hours in the bed, because we might be in the bed for 7 hours, but we might only be asleep for 6 hours, right? We're losing about 10% of that time we're in the bed to just being awake. You say, I got 7 hours last night. Well, because I was in the bed for 7 hours, but you weren't asleep for 7 hours.
Right.
So really getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. What that's going to do for the body is going to allow the body to repair the stressors and the harms and the physical things that you went through during the day. From a physical standpoint, it's going to improve our cognitive ability for the next day. And something that you had brought to my attention, and I've heard before in the past as well, is it's also going to flush out certain chemicals in the brain. Because chemicals get flushed out during the time we're asleep.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't discover that probably until maybe 5 years ago. When I was just doing some research for a lesson I was going to do on sleep.
Yeah.
And, saw a video of a CAT scan or a CT scan or something where they were measuring what was going on in this person's body while they were sleeping. And this fluid comes through the spinal cavity, goes through the brain, and then comes back out and I guess goes through the lymph or something. But that flushing of that fluid from down here in your body up through your brain is literally taking the waste that your brain creates because it's managing your everything during the day and flushes it at night. Yeah. And you can only get that process going if you get enough hours in so you can cycle through these different waves of sleep to get to that cleaning, that cleaning process. It's a pretty fascinating thing, and it's not something we intuitively think about as a need, but you feel it when you're groggy the next day. Yes. Even after seven cups of coffee. That's another thing. We'll talk about another time, right? But I love how you said that we're reframing it as sleep as the foundation and these other things are the pillar, because believe me, if you do not get enough sleep, body won't process nutrition. You can put all kinds of great things in your body. And physically, you're just not going to be able to go the way you need to go.
And then cognitively, you're not going to be there either.
No.
You're not going to be as sharp.
No.
You're not going to be ready to answer questions. You're not going to be able to articulate yourself as well.
No.
And you might not even notice those type of things because you're so used to not getting enough sleep. And that's the crazy part, right there.
Yeah.
That we're not even used to it or we're not even aware of it because we're so used to not getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
So we're so used to functioning at a suboptimal level because of that. So sleep is really that foundation. And when we're talking about sleep, it's about optimizing the amount of sleep.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Optimizing, not perfecting, but optimizing that and what that looks like. So that's setting up a sleep routine.
Yep.
All right. What does that sleep routine look like for you? So before we go to bed, what are we doing to wind down to get the body and the mind prepared to go to sleep?
Yeah. And you speak to just having that routine, and it allows you to quickly get into sleep. And so, you want low lights.
Yes.
First of all, we're talking to better baby dad. So you need a sleep routine for your kids.
Yes. Yes.
So really your sleep routine starts with their sleep routine.
Yes.
That's jacked up. Yours is jacked up. So getting them to bed and prioritizing it for them. And then, hey, low lights, put your phones away, let the mind calm down. I like take a hot shower, but then be in a cold room. And for some reason that works best for my body. I talked about throwing the socks on like last time. I got masks, all kinds of device, mouth tape, But do what you got to do to be able to put yourself in a situation where you can go to sleep quickly and get to those deeper levels of sleep right away.
Yeah, my routine looks like meditation. That really sets me in a nice, calm level. I'll read sometimes right before bed. I'll pray right before I get into the bed. I tried the sleep mask. I found myself waking up in the middle of the night and just throwing it off. It wasn't, for some reason, I couldn't sleep with the sleep mask. The nose straps or strips, what I did is I did a 30-day test, looked at my Whoop data, my sleep data, and really, and although I guess I felt like, oh yeah, these are working. When I looked at the Whoop data, there wasn't really any change. So I just went with the Whoop and didn't pay for the strips anymore.
Hey. Try to work. It's funny. I heard that was true with in the research too. It's like really, during the day it might help, but nighttime it's not really doing much.
It didn't do too much. So yeah, sleep is a big thing. You need those 7 to 9 hours of sleep, not the 7 to 9 hours in the bed, but the 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And one of the funny things about sleep is that we're all a little genetically different when it comes to sleep.
Yes, we are.
So if we look at what we call people that are morning people versus late night people, they fall into different categories.
And Walker talks about it.
Yes, he does. Walker talks about that directly. And about 25% of the populations is a early to bed, early rise, right? And then there's some subcategories within that as well. And then there are 25% of the population is late to bed and late to rise. The other 50% of us fall somewhere in there in between those two 25%. Right. So finding what works best for you, like just because you read a book that says get up at 5 a.m., if that doesn't really work with who you are, you're going to struggle with that. I mean, getting up early is a struggle for a lot of us no matter what. But if that doesn't align with your biology, you might be in trouble.
And it's worth it listening to that episode because I didn't know about that. I was like, oh, that's why I'm struggling. And I'm married to somebody who's a late sleeper, late riser. And so the conflicts of that, but it helps. It helps for you. You don't want to work against nature. No. And biology, you're not going to win that fight. So find out what works for you. But the constants are have a good sleep routine. And try to get and stay asleep throughout the night. So don't take a lot of liquids before you go to bed. So anything that interrupts your sleep, try to avoid that.
And one of the things that you can use to help to find out where you are is a test that's online called the MEQ test. There we go. So that MEQ test will definitely help you determine. So I'm actually not an early riser. I'm a late riser. So maybe I can go to bed a little later. Maybe that means gym in the evening as opposed to gym in the morning. So you can build your schedule around your sleep.
There you go. But the main thing is protect that sleep like a soldier.
Yes.
Because from it, everything else, comes from that. All this success come.
Right. That's your foundation. All right. I think we covered sleep pretty well.
I think we did. Yeah. Matt Walker, look him up.
Peter Attia.
Or Huberman.
Or Huberman. Yeah.
He's going to knock it out the park.
Yeah. Those guys crush it when it comes to sleep. Number 2 on our list, one of the pillars that sits on top of our foundation of sleep is diet. Man, what we eat on a consistent basis. What does that look like for you?
Hey, it depends on the day. Sometimes it's a kind of Cherry Garcia, when I'm in a dark moment. Hey, my dad lived to 80, what was he? Let's see, he was 85 years old. 80, 85, 86 years old. And he ate really, really well. I mean, he ate super healthy. But that was his weakness, that Ben and Jerry. So I guess everything in moderation.
Everything
He was
in
a pint man.
He was a pint man.
He sat down, couldn't sit down with that spoon. He just carving away.
That is so interesting that you said that, because when you look, I'm going to compare this to alcohol, right? So they say, you know, there's this poison. No matter how you look at it, it's poison to the body, right? It has so many detrimental effects on the body. I'm not telling you not to drink, but, you know, you make your own decisions. But they look at people, when they look at longitudinal studies of people that drink still can live to 105, still live to 110. So they looked at, why is this occurring where these people are drinking almost daily and they're still living to 105, you know? And what they basically boiled it down to is that drinking creates a certain level of happiness within them, right? It's maybe because they're interacting with certain people. Maybe it's just the happiness they get from consuming alcohol, right? Maybe it's that social environment it's created. So there is a weird correlation, even though it's literally poison.
It is.
Then can you find that social fulfillment or that happiness from other places is the question.
I guarantee you that there's probably a connection between their diet. Like they're probably, you know, they're not just punishing a bottle or two.
No, we're not doing that.
Right. But they're probably, like you said,
maybe
drinking
a beer a night.
And they're probably eating well. They're probably active too. So there's some other things, you know. But you are what you eat. And my dad, you know, the same thing with my dad. He would kill the ice cream, but he was active. And he ate really, really well. But diet, we would both agree that what you put in your body absolutely optimizes or decreases its ability to work efficiently. And so there's a couple of things that we're really proponents of, particularly, you know, because we exercise and we're trying to actively build muscles as we get older, is we encourage you to have a protein-forward diet.
Absolutely. And one of the foremost experts in the entire world is Dr. Gabrielle Lyon when it comes to protein.
No doubt.
Her book, Forever Strong, will put you on the right path, whether you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. Her protein-forward approach to dieting is amazing and research-backed.
It is. And I love her episode on Atia and Huberman because she speaks to and gives a lot of credence to her mentors who were pioneers in the research around protein synthesis, you know, the importance of lean meats. It was a really intriguing episode she did about cow and beef provide all these balance of amino acids, but they're vegetarians. And it's how does this animal eat all this, you know, feed, you know, produce these, you know, produce this meat that has all this.
It's packed with all these essential amino acids, crazy. Right?
But, you know, she really gets into the weeds, but I love how she just, you know, just gives huge shout outs and kudos to the guys that she studied under. But she is a beast and, you know, proof's in the pudding. Like, you know, if you see her workout videos, like she puts it in and
she's a beast.
She practices what she preaches. So, you know, protein-forward diet, because down the road, as we get older, you want to make sure your body is strong and you have to have protein in order to build lean muscle.
Interesting study that I saw, and I'm going to reference this very gently because of the fact that I don't have all the data here right on top of my head, but there was a study done that compared brain size of vegetarians versus brain size of meat eaters. And who do you think had the bigger brain?
Vegetarians, because, you know, they're so smart. Don't come at us. You know, that was strictly for Cliff. No, I'm kidding. You know, intuitively, I would think the vegetarians. They're healthier.
They're just
better.
They're just better people. Right. Yeah, especially the vegans. No, actually, it was the meat eaters.
Is that right?
Meat eaters. Now, I would equate that to a couple different variables there. Number one being that people that practice vegetarianism and veganism may not be experts on consuming the right amount of nutrients that they need to consume. They may be doing it for social reasons, right? So they may not be great at consuming the type of nutrients that they need because they're not consuming meats. So that may be it.
Interesting.
But it also may be the fact that meat just is a better delivery system and a better system for obtaining full nutrition.
Very good. And all that's to say is that, hey, make sure you get adequate protein. However you get it. If you're going to get it through plant-based sources, you just got to eat a lot more of it. And then you might have to supplement with some other things to round it out.
And when we talk about protein here, we're talking about lean meats in general, right? We're talking about red meat. We're talking about turkey. We're talking about chicken. We're talking about those type of meats. Fish, of course, fish is a great, especially salmon, is a great food to consume.
It is.
In terms of its omega-3s and its protein content, it's awesome.
And all this does is it constructs the body that you're going to need as you get older. As you are facing these stresses as a better baby dad, you want to be strong physically. And it allows you to move and shake with what you got to do.
One of the examples that I used to give to my students is when we talked about nutrition was the fact you have this Ferrari. You're not pulling up to the gas station and putting 87 in the Ferrari. The Ferrari is not going to run that long on 87.
Right.
We need that high octane,
Yes.
premium stuff
Yes.
put in the Ferrari.
Correct.
So that means that we need to consume foods that are high in protein, healthy fats, right? We need to consume those things, nutritionally dense foods.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
And then we need to limit or eliminate, depending on how disciplined you are and how strict you are, is those processed foods.
Killers.
Processed foods are killers.
Killers.
The amount of dyes and additives that are in those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the effect on how they make you overeat, how they're
Yes.
chemically designed to shut off the centers of the brain that say you've had enough and open up
Yeah.
the centers of the brain that says keep feeding me.
Yeah. Yes.
And so that's why we have
And they're energy killers at the end of the day.
Yeah, they
right? I get this big burst of energy from consuming a Mickey D's number 5 meal. I don't even know what the number 5 meal is. I'm just throwing that out there. But it's the double cheeseburger. So I get this big. I drank the Coke, I ate the fries, I ate my double cheeseburger. I'm feeling great for about 10 seconds. Like literally, then it's like, whoa, and I'm crashed.
And your body's like, okay,
You wanted the good stuff?
what we got to do with this?
Yeah.
And it definitely has an effect. It takes, and we'll speak to this next.
Yeah.
It takes planning though.
Yeah. Yes, it definitely takes planning. But real quick before we jump forward, because we are the Better Baby Daddy podcast, we'll talk about that impact on nutrition on kids, or your kids specifically. So if we're filling our kids up with the processed foods, with the foods that are not nutritionally dense,
Right.
what is it doing to their developing brain?
Correct.
What are those additives? What is that food coloring doing to their developing brain?
Yeah.
So really starting your kids down the right path
Right.
can be very beneficial.
No doubt.
Right? If they're eating what you're eating while they're young, they're going to eat the healthy stuff when they're older as well.
There you go.
For the most part.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're free agents.
Yeah.
But you set their palate up to like, this is delicious. This is healthy.
My little one eats, you ready for this? Every morning, she eats 2 pieces of thick cut turkey bacon, right? Blueberries, avocado, and then we get our little bit of carbs there. We get our, she gets a waffle with honey, not syrup though. Raw honey.
Okay, what is this? It's 2025, so about 20 years she's going to be in the Olympics.
Yes. So she eats every day for breakfast. Sometimes we'll have some eggs for breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in eggs, and it's boost from a lysine perspective, and also from a boosting testosterone levels in men, or aiding in that, keeping that testosterone levels high in men. All right,
3 eggs tomorrow. So just it.
I eat 6 every day. 6 eggs a day. 6 eggs a day, man. And guess what? My cholesterol is great. I'm ready to go, B. Yeah, but when we're talking about sleep and diet, it's really also preparing your kids and teaching your kids the benefits of both of those things.
That's about it. You pour into their bucket just good things, just like you would want them to have a good education, right? And you're setting them up for a good dietary habits.
As you like to say, there's always more caught than taught.
There you go.
Right. So be that example.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Next.
Number 3.
Favorites,
Exercise, man.
We slept well. We're eating well. We got the avocado, thick cut bacon, where's going on, and now it's time to keep the Ferrari tuned up, right?
Yeah, man.
I love that example.
Yeah.
So exercise is crucial. So without it, we're constantly fighting against age. We're literally fighting against gravity, and you're getting weaker and less muscled as you get older. Yeah. And so you have to do things to combat that natural decay. And getting out, working the body, putting it under tension is one of the ways to do that.
Yeah. So, and there's really no excuse not to work out, right?
Yeah.
What do you need? I mean, the average man in America is probably about 5'9", 5'10", right? So you need about a 6 foot square in your office, in your living room, right? If that, to do some push-ups, to do some body weight squats, to do some burpees for 10 minutes. Like, there is no excuse not to work out. Oh, but I got my kids. Burpees with you. They can do the body weight squats with you. You don't have to have a gym membership, right? You don't have to belong to LA Fitness or Golds.
Right.
You can get it done.
Although we rock with gold.
Yeah, we do.
Anytime I'll throw a little sponsorship our way, we're here for it.
No, I was just there this morning.
And I was there yesterday. But you've spoken to people about not getting a gym membership.
Yes.
Kind of first getting into things.
Yeah.
Because it's the establishment of the habit of moving your body, putting it under stress that you got to have before you commit to, financially to a gym.
The foundation of going to the gym is building a healthy habit
Right.
before you even get there.
Right.
So I'm happy you brought that up.
Yeah.
I had a coworker ask me, he was like, "Oh, Mr. Lakshmanan, you work out?" And I'm like, "You can't tell?" Of course I work out. Right. So no. And he said, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting a gym membership, but I really haven't worked out before in my life." I said, "Well, don't get a membership then, man. Don't get a membership." He says, "And I think I want to work out in the morning." And I was like, "Here's what you're going to do." I said, "First off, you're just going to establish the foundation of waking up in the morning. So let's say you normally get up at 7. All right, now you're getting up at 6. You're not working out for the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You're just getting up at 6 and you're moving around. Yeah. Maybe you're going for a morning walk. Right. Maybe you're just walking around the apartment, but you're just establishing that habit of waking up at 6. Next step. Now that we've established the habit of waking up at 6, now we're going to do 10 push-ups. We're going to do 10 bodyweight squats. We're going to do 10 burpees. We're going to go for a mile walk or a half-mile walk. Right. All right. Now we have the habit of waking up early. We have the habit of movement, very light exercise. And now we can go to that third level. That third level might be a morning jog. It might be a HIIT workout in the living room or in the bedroom. Yeah. So now we're really moving. We're really ready to go. Yeah. Maybe we're 3 months in and we're ready for the gym membership now, because now we have that habit of working out. We have that habit of getting up. So that's the big thing, is establishing the habit.
It is, no doubt about it. And once you establish the habit, the benefits are enormous. One, you feel confident. Yes. Body's changing. You can literally feel after weeks or months that you're stronger. There was stuff that you weren't able to do at the beginning that you're now able to do. Yeah. And then your ability to handle stress, which we're speaking to guys who we know are under stress, who have a lot of variables, a lot of things that are unpredictable. And so your ability to handle those things, either from a physical or mental standpoint, is increased. Your capacity to handle is increased.
The gym is a great stress reliever, man. It really is.
And the cool thing is that you're in there with other people. So once you've established that habit and you're like, oh, okay, I'm ready to lock in and join a gym, you're in there with other people who are of the same mindset. Yeah. And all on the journey with you. So you got this kind of built-in tribe, and you'll see, if you go at the same time, you'll see some of the regulars and like, yo, so I might even know their name.
No, but you've been saying what's up to them for a minute.
And so it is these wonderful social benefits too.
I want to go back right now.
Rest day, and I'm glad it's rest day, but I'll be back in there tomorrow. No doubt. And just like we talked about with diet, the example you're setting for your children of, we take care of our bodies. Like we say in our family, we're a fit family. Make this move because we're a fit family. It speaks volumes to them. It makes it just part of we're a healthy family, we're athletic, and it doesn't mean you're going to run the you be a decathlon, but you're active. Yes. And you realize that, hey, I'm building the body now that I want 10 years from now. Yep. So exercise is key.
It is.
What helped you to get established with just the routine? Well, you kind of, it's your major, know, and then, but what were some key things that helped you just say, it became not just a thing you did, but like almost like an identity?
Okay, so it actually started all the way back 9th, 10th grade year of high school. Okay. Right? My 9th grade year of high school, I was 5'6" or 5'7". Okay. I'm 6'1" now, by the way. Okay. Yeah. Probably 120 pounds. Yeah. And I was like, I'm so little.
9th grade, wow. Okay.
It was literally like, why am I so tiny and skinny? So I started doing push-ups in my bedroom, sit-ups in my bedroom. I stole a dumbbell. Not from a store, but I stole a dumbbell. I'm just going to leave it at that. Right. 120-pound dumbbell, doing curls here and then do curls here. So, but something happened during that time when I was doing that, where I just became addicted to it. And I didn't have access, because of where I grew up, to like a gym membership, or my buddy didn't have a gym in his basement. Like we wasn't doing that where I grew up. Right. So when I finally got access to a gym in college, I was like, I just went wild. And it's been part of my life probably since I'm in like 15 or 16. And I've never been one that's like, I never was attempting to be Ronnie Coleman or Jay Cutler, because I knew my genetics as an East Indian were limited. We're the least athletic people on the entire planet.
Y'all be rocking it with the cricket, though.
When we're talking about genetics and athleticism, we ain't there. So, we kind of limited there. So I understood that from an early age. We're not West African or Polynesian. We ain't running like that. And there ain't no wide receivers or DBs either. So
I can run them books for us.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what.
You can find an income.
Try operating Google without us. So it was something from high school where I was just, I worked from a standpoint of, maybe a little insecurities.
Sure.
Maybe a little bit of wanting to be more aesthetically appealing to the opposite sex. Sure. Right. Yeah. Some of those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now it has become a way of life. Yeah. It really has. Yeah. It's become a way of life. I'm up at 4:30. I'm in the gym by 5 a.m. Working out for an hour to hour and a half, hitting the sauna, getting the shower, and coming here, man.
Yeah, you're a soldier, man. Yeah. And you've inspired me. Some of the protocols, you set up a fitness routine for me that I go back to frequently, so I might do some other things, but I said, let me get back to this Lakshmanan workout. And it has helped put a system in place that makes it easy to have working out be a habit. And that's the biggest thing, fellas, is just like with diet, just like with your sleep routine, have a routine for fitness that allows you to make it simple to do.
And for some of us, working out doesn't have to be dumbbells and barbells at a gym, right? It can be other things. I'm a strong believer in strength training being part of that. Yeah. And when we're talking about people that lay a foundation for fitness out there in the virtual world, one of the go-tos for us is Dr. Peter Attia. Again. Right? And we're going to go to some other people as well, but Dr. Peter Attia has four foundational aspects of fitness for him in his book that he goes over, and he goes over on his podcast, The Drive, as well. And that is strength training, right? Being one of those pillars, VO2 max, stability training, and then finally our zone 2 training. Those things, I guess we can go into a little detail about what each one is. Strength training is, I'm lifting weight. I'm doing push-ups. I'm doing body weight squats. That's body weight exercises. But then if I'm more advanced, then I'm lifting the dumbbells, I'm lifting the barbells, I'm doing a leg press, I'm doing weighted squats, things of that nature. That's what strength training looks like. Then we have VO2 max training, which is a, 2 to 3 minutes of elevated heart rate. We're talking about 70 to 80 to 90% of your max heart rate. You're going at it for a certain amount of time period, you're relaxing, and then you're going at it again. So that's our VO2 max training. Stability training, on the other hand, is, maybe I'm doing a one-legged exercise. So I'm working on that stability. Maybe I'm exercising on top of a Bosu ball, right? That's flipped over. It's the half of a ball.
Half plate.
So it's just creating stability. It's core exercises, right? It's as I age and I might slip, I can catch myself. I have the stability to step off a curb. Peter Attia talks about specifically doing exercises where you're stepping off of higher places, curb down onto a lower place. So that stability is essential. And then our zone 2 is zone 2 cardio, where we're able to perform a run, a bike, an elliptical type exercise, and we're still able to communicate and talk without being completely out of breath. That'll pretty much get you into zone 2 training.
Yeah, and if you do all 4 of those things, you're hitting all the major, you don't have any blind spots in your fitness approach. That VO2 max, I didn't understand how important that was. In his book, Outlive, and he talked about that is one of the dominant, markers for longevity is your VO2 max, score. It is not comfortable to do a VO2 max workout. It's not designed to be comfortable, but it stresses your body and it allows you to quickly, build a capacity to recuperate. And then get to exertion and recuperate.
Right. And that VO2 max is essentially our body's ability to get oxygen to our muscles so they can continue to work. Right. At the end of the day. Right. How much oxygen can I take in? And how much oxygen can after I take it in, can I get it to the muscles and allow them to continue to work? Because if they don't have oxygen, they're not going to be able to work.
And then the stability, I've raised, being a caregiver, you don't think about it when you're our age, right? So in your 40s or 50s, like, I'm able to rock. But when you have to care for an older person and you see the devastating effects of a fall, falls change your life. They either kill you or they put you on a path where you are going to decline quickly. And so being able to survive a fall, it sounds funny to talk about that when you're in your 20s or 30s
or even your 40s.
40s. But being able to survive a fall is a really important skill. Being able to get up after you fall is an important skill. And so that stability, like you spoke to, it helps you to do that. But also those balance exercises, there's something, and I can't remember what they call it. There's
proprioception.
Your ability to adjust to variables in space and surfaces is a key. It helps with stability, but also mentally, it staves off Alzheimer's.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
very interesting.
Correlation. So that's why tennis players, where you have to, respond to the variety of the ways the ball can come back to you. Paddle sports like that, helps you. And then hiking on uneven surfaces helps you with that. So all those things in the fitness area are designed to build a strong body, as Peter Tia says, hey, you want to be able to do the Centurion decathlon. You want to get it to your 70s, 80s, and 90s strong, and you want to be the best dad you could be by being
right. One of those things that I wasn't really aware of that much until I started watching and reading Peter Tia was grip strength and its correlation to longevity.
Yeah.
Grip strength is crazy, right? You need a strong grip. And Peter Tia suggests being able to carry half of your weight in one arm and half of your weight in the other arm. So doing a farmer's carry. So your total body weight right there. I believe that's what it is, right?
Yeah, it's that or a very high percentage of it. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm 225.
So you need...
I would need 110 and
125
and 120. And right now I do 60 and 60.
Yeah.
For like 60 yards. And I have this little loop at the gym. And it's a minute. Yeah. And your hands, like, yo, what's up? But it allows you to like catch yourself.
If you're going to fall.
Yeah. And you don't think about that.
Yeah.
I read that. I was like, grip strength.
Yeah.
And so, he does things for women, a little different hanging.
I think it's like 75% of your total body weight.
Or hanging for 45 seconds.
And then for men, it's hanging for 2 minutes. Yeah. So being able to hold onto a bar for 2 minutes and just hang there. Can you do that? And then can you carry half your weight in one hand, half your weight in the other hand for a minute straight?
You're a strong mug.
You shaking hands, you breaking knuckles.
Yes, you are. So build that in early. Here, I'm in my 50s, almost 60s. You're in your 40s. Yeah. And so if you're 20, 25, 30, build that as part of your routine. You'll thank yourself later. And I do it once a week on my leg day. So I want to do it when my body's kind of expired. I'm feeling like I'm a 70-year-old, leg wise, but I'm going to do these carries.
So I like doing the hang on my leg day so I can just a little bit decompress the spine because all that axial loading that occurs from doing different exercises when I'm working my legs.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. There's no science behind that. There probably is science behind it, but I just do it based on some things that I feel.
Yeah. So I didn't think about that. Yeah. But the point is, you want to have a strong grip.
Yes, absolutely.
It brings you back to take care of my mom and dad. And there were several times where they didn't catch themselves. I had to catch them. You want a strong grip. Yeah,
you do. Absolutely. You want to be able to pick up the little ones when you're younger.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Maybe even pick up, your friend.
That might lead to having more little ones. You start picking up your friends like that. And girl be like, girl, you been working with your grip strength. Yeah, shorty. You know what's happening.
You know what's happening.
It's funny.
All right. So we got our foundation, sleep, right? We got our 2 pillars, diet and exercise.
And then we want to absolutely draw it all together.
Yeah. So what does that look like? How do we balance all these things? Well, I think we both agree that balance begins with establishing and setting that sleep schedule. So whether you're an early riser or a late riser, early to bed or late to bed, establish that sleep schedule, right? And then build everything from there.
The sleep is the big rock. Yeah. So if you imagine, you got this container and you got a big rock you got to fit in and you got sand and other stuff. I love that example people use. You got to put sleep in there first. Without it, as we said, nothing else is really going to work, over time. So put that in, make sure you got a solid routine on that. And then have a system for the other things.
Yes.
So we love James Clear and
yes. Darren
Hardy. Because they talk about the compounding effects of good habits. And I love what James Clear said. He said, when you fail to do something, it's not a weakness. I'm going to butcher it up, but it's not a weakness of the habit. It's a weakness of your system. So have a good system to balance all those things.
Right. Yeah. Right. And we're basing that system off of sleep, of course. Right. And then, so am I better to work out in the morning or am I better to work out in the evening? How much time do I have to work out? So it's really going through writing this down or using ChatGPT to help you develop a schedule that works best for you and your job or your priorities and your responsibilities in life, whether it be work, kids, or a significant other. But it's really being detailed in terms of that routine. So here's my sleep. So for me, an example, right? I think that's the best way to go about this. I am a early to bed person, right? It's pretty natural for me, actually. So, I put my little one to bed around 8:30. Maybe sometimes she'll be up to 8:45, depending. And she's out like, boom. So I know she got my genetics, right? Because then I'll come back and I will read, meditate, and pray in some type of configuration. And then I'm to bed. And I don't waste any time going to sleep. I'm asleep. So we're talking 9:15, I'm out.
Okay.
Just like that.
Wow.
And then I'll wake up maybe once in the middle of the night, go to the restroom. And then I'm up at 4:30.
Wow.
And it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult for me to get up at 4:30. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Now, I'm fortunate enough to probably have efficient sleep where I'm able to get up that early.
Right.
So then as soon as I'm out the door, I'm working out. Boom. working out, boom, 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 go through my workout routine, and then I'm at work.
Wow.
That's what works for me.
Yeah.
Right. And on Sundays, I'm meal prepping, so my nutrition's on point.
Yeah.
I used to meal prep for the entire week. That's impossible.
Yeah.
Well, it's not impossible.
No.
But what happens is by Friday, the food don't taste that good.
Yeah.
But actually, by Wednesday, the food, you're like.
Yeah. So let me ask you this about the 4:30 wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up without an alarm at 4:30.
Yeah. So I have my HomePod, the Siri HomePod.
Okay.
Connected to my lights, and a gentle sound of waves crashing play. So the lights come on, 2 lights come on in the apartment, and then a gentle sound of waves crashing. But usually the lights just coming on wake me up, and then I'll hear the music later.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. To get up that early, I definitely need an alarm. You know, I'm an early riser, but I'm not that early.
Yeah.
Because I'm married and my wife is a night hawk. You know,
Interesting.
It's funny. She's a night hawk, but then it's like, when she's ready to go to bed, she's ready to go to bed.
Yeah.
It's like, stay up. Why aren't you in bed? You know, like, and then it's like, oh, everybody's got to go to sleep now. But when you have a partner, you gotta, y'all are going to have a sleep schedule as a unit, right? But that routine, you know, I like getting up early, so she likes staying late. So the morning gym works for me too. Yeah. But
for some of you, it might be because you're late to bed, you know, you're getting up an hour and a half before you have to be at work. So that morning workout doesn't work for you.
Right.
Maybe you're better after work, going to the gym. Yeah. And of course, we're balancing multiple things at the same time here. You know, you have kids, right? That's why you're watching this, is because you have kids. Right. You may not have them 100% of the time.
Correct.
You may have them 50% of the time. You may have them on weekends, but how do we balance that part as well?
Yeah. And it's important, you know? And so you have different schedules for different periods of your life. But the important thing is that you predetermine, just like money, predetermine when you're going to do the sleep, when I'm going to do the workout, how I'm going to eat. And it just makes it so much simpler because you've removed a lot of decision-making from it. Yeah.
Yeah, those routines. And here's the thing. You have to accept that you're going to fall off the routine every so often.
No doubt.
Your body's going to get tired. Your mind's going to get tired. You're just going to be weak for whatever reason it is. And maybe it's not even weakness. Maybe you're just like, something happens in life, right? Some type of emergency occurs. You miss the gym. You don't get to sleep that you need to get up at 4:30, whatever it may be. After work, can't get to the gym, I have to do this, the tire blew out on the car. There are things that are going to occur in life because life be lifing, right? That is going to interrupt your routine. The key is how quickly can you get back on routine? One of my stipulations is I never miss something 2 days in a row.
Yeah, that's James Clear.
So never miss a habit 2 days in a row. If you miss it more than 2 days in a row, and
you're establishing a new habit.
You are, is what you're doing. And the difficulty to get back on that moving train is exponentially higher. So I like to think of it as I'm pushing this boulder. And once you gain momentum, the boulder, all right, I'm moving the boulder. Then all of a sudden you step to the side and you're like, yo, let me take a break. Then you got to start all over again to push that boulder. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. So let's talk about a couple of time and energy hacks to you know, maybe help get you back on track or jumpstart something if you're trying to get something going. One thing I like is James Clear's habit stacking. If you have a strong habit, maybe it's getting up at 4:30 in the morning. Then you stack another habit that you're trying to establish right on the back of that. Right. You know, so as soon as you do that one thing, hey, when I finish working out, you know, I meditate. When I finish working out, I sit and do breathing in the sauna. And it allows that other habit to take root.
Right.
Yeah.
It's laying that foundation of discipline with something that you're strong with, something that you're already disciplined in.
Yeah.
And both of us have experienced this. Like once we've had that disciplined habit that we're really strong in one thing, all of a sudden, you know, it's transversing into other areas of our lives. And I become more disciplined over here. Now I'm more disciplined over here just because of that one habit. Right. And that habit stacking is so important.
It's a monster.
So it might be something as simple as this, V. It's like, all right, I'm always brushing my teeth at night. I know I'm going to brush my teeth because I always brush my teeth at night. I've been doing it since I'm 8 years old, right? Now, what can I add on top of brushing my teeth?
Correct.
So as soon as I'm done with brushing my teeth, my mind switches, boom, automatically, and I'm reading a page out of a book. Just one page a night. Maybe that's all I'm doing. But because that habit of brushing my teeth is already established, it's easy to add something right on top of it.
That's it. If I was going to give you one, it would be that. We'll read James Clear, Atomic Habits, and then get habits that look at your life and say, what am I really good at? And then we'll kind of like snap onto that like a Lego and do that thing.
There are some other great books out there like Power of a Habit that's out there that's really good as well. One of the things that we had spoken about in a previous podcast, the book, The 5 a.m. Club, is really good for that as well. That was one of the books that really set me off on the path that I currently am. Is that 5 a.m. But they all talk about habits in one form or another.
Yeah. And as we wrap up, at the bottom line, it's about having a mindset that you're doing these things for your kids. Let's always tackle it back to the kids.
Yes.
You know, you could take this podcast and just apply it to life, right?
Yeah.
But we're doing it in a mindset that, hey, we want you to be at top level so you can be the best dad you can be. But at the end of the game, it's a mindset that you want to improve, and it's the discipline to do what you said you were going to do.
And you are not relying on motivation.
No.
Motivation comes and it goes.
Yes.
It's high one day and it's non-existent the next day. You're relying on building discipline.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. And I'm going to say it again. I know I already said it once, but I love what you, and I've taken this from you. It's always more caught than taught. It's always. I mean, I can't even express in words how important it is to do these things for you, how important it is for your kids to see you do these things.
No doubt.
Right?
And whether your kids are young, like yours, we talk, you know, my kids are old.
Yeah.
I send them my workouts. When I hit the gym, I say, hey, fellas, this is what I lifted today.
Yeah.
You know? They don't text me back. I don't know what they say. But at least they know, hey, Dad's in that place.
Yeah.
Dad's pushing that steel. And so, you know, plus we got a contest at the end of the year, and I can't come in there and slouch it. So
tell them about the contest, baby.
Pull-ups, because I can't do any pull-ups. You know, so I'm working on a pull-up routine, and then it's 225 bench press.
We're getting in the combine.
It's combine. So, you know, by Thanksgiving of this year, it's going to be who can press that 225.
Love it, man.
So, Burgess boys, don't sleep. Coming for you.
So we're talking about fitness right there, but we're also talking about the social impact,
Yes, we are.
the relationship building with our children.
Yes,
like,
we are.
it's so important.
It really
and look, it's all stemming from fitness.
It is.
It really is.
It is.
And that's a great thing. One of my fitness stories, my favorite fitness story, and I know I probably told it before, is like me and my little ones are playing video games. Like, and I go,
Terminators. He's raising
loser got to do burpees. The little one look at me like, I'm going to lose on purpose. The older one go, you ain't losing, I'm losing. They fighting to see who can do the burpees.
daughters and are eating burpees.
But that's because they see me.
Right.
I've normalized working out.
Right.
You know, in some families, it's kind of like working out. That's kind of feel awkward. They don't have to feel awkward about going to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, they come to the gym with me. They go to the play area. So they know what it's like to walk in the gym already.
Yeah.
They understand that environment, that culture. They understand what it is to get an in-home workout done.
Right.
They understand what it is to eat healthy. They know I'm going to bed at a reasonable time because I'm waking up before them.
Right.
Right.
That's it.
So it's just establishing those routines and habits that your children can see and that they're going to emulate as they get older. Yeah.
And that's it, guys. You know, we really are wanting to, again, we're not the experts.
No.
Man, we rubbed shoulders and learned through some great resources.
Man.
And we just want to bring them to you in your 20s and 30s so you can begin to implement them now for you and your kids so that you continue to become a better baby dad.
Yeah.
So let's just do a quick rehash of the areas we touched upon today. And we talked about the importance of just sleep as the foundation.
Yes.
Right. And then on top of that foundation, great fitness and great eating habits, nutrition, and then tying it together in a workable system.
Yeah. A system that works for you, a system that you can repeat every day that you need to repeat it. And that system might look different on a Saturday or Sunday or on a Friday.
For vacation when you got your kids.
Yes.
You know.
But it's still being able to use a system and put a system in place no matter what day of the week it is.
There it is.
That's beneficial and healthy for you and your family.
And like you said, don't miss 2 days in a row.
Don't miss 2 in a row.
There you go.
All right.
So until next time, I'm Kelly.
And I'm John. Peace.